So, does anybody want to read a teaching to us today? From the recommended reading list, ideally. Anyone does, raise your hand. Demetrius, welcome.
So this is from Shri Arunachala Akshara Manamalai, and it is verse 77. O Arunachala, who shine devoid of attachment, destroying the attachment of those who come to you with attachment.
Thank you, Demetrius. And would you read it again for us, please?
Yes, and there's a little bit in parentheses, which I'll add if it's okay. O Arunachala, who shine devoid of attachment, Abhimana, destroying the attachment of those who come to you with attachment. Parentheses, graciously destroy my de abhimana, or attachment to the body as I.
Thank you, Demetrius. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are you reading from the Sri Sadhuam version?
Yes. Yeah, so I can't tell if it's him or Michael James who added the parentheses. Not sure.
Would you mind if I read the Ramana Ashram translation just to see?
Please, yes.
Thank you. And then I'll get my copy of the Sri Sadhuam.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
77.
Correct. Yep.
And this is from the Marital Garland of Letters. The Marital Garland of Letters, which is one of the 5 poems or devotional hymns that Bhagwan wrote to Arunachala. You'll find it in the collected works. It's called the Marital Garland of Letters, Akshara Manamalai. Akshara Manamalai in Tamil. Oh, it's a very different translation here. If it's this is verse 77. Shine, thou, selfless, sapping the pride of those who boast of their free will. O Arunachala. Shine, thou, selfless, sapping the pride of those who boast of their free will. O Arunachala. So before I was reading from the collected works, here's the copy of the collected works I was reading from. It has different covers. They all contain basically the same. There is an earlier version, actually. Again, this is the collected works I was reading from. There's another version of this which has a different cover, but has exactly the same contents. It's usually a bit larger and it's got a picture of Bhagwan on the front and it's framed, I think, in a brown cover. So these are exactly the same. And these are the later versions of the collected works, the most recent version. There is an earlier version, which usually looks like this. Okay. So this one, the later one, is called The Collected Works of Sri Ramana Maharshi. And this one is called The Collected Works of Ramana Maharshi, without the Sri. Now, this is actually an earlier version. This is the earliest version, and the content is slightly different. It hasn't got all exactly the same things in it, and the translations are different. These are earlier translations. It doesn't say who does the translations. It says it's edited by Arthur Osborne, who was a Western devotee of Bhagwan's. And most people accept that Arthur Osborne himself translated many of these texts. For some reason, I don't know why, the ashram decided to retranslate many of the texts. And then they were issued in this version. I just mentioned that in case some of you are interested, because I did receive an email from someone recently who was asking me all about this stuff. Not someone who comes to satsang, just someone who's come across the website, my website, and was asking me questions about different versions of texts. So I was explaining that to them. So you will see different versions of things, and that is potentially one of the reasons. Then there's this thing here. This is what Demetrius is reading to us from. This is completely different in the sense that this is not the collected works. This is called Sri Arunachala Stuti Panchakam, which basically means the 5 hymns to Arunachala. So it's taken just the 5 hymns that were in the collected works and translated them and expanded them a bit more. And let me go to verse 77. And I'll read exactly what Demetrius read to us. O Arunachala, O Arunachala, who shine devoid of attachment, destroying the attachment of those who come to you with attachment. O Arunachala, who shine devoid of attachment, destroying the attachment of those who come to you with attachment. And in the parentheses, in the brackets, it says abhimana. I think that means attachment. I think that's the word for attachment, abhimana. In fact, it is, because I can see what this version does. It also breaks down each individual Tamil word and translates it word for word. You may not be able to see, but you can see they've got the verses and then they've got each word and they've translated each word for word. So abhimanam or abhimana is attachment. And then afterwards, in brackets, it says, graciously destroy my dehabhimana. Dehabhimana. Now, the deha means body, and abhimana means attachment. So dehabhimana means attachment to the body. So it's graciously destroy my dehabhimana, or attachment to the body as I. This is, I think, a comment put in brackets afterwards by Sri Sadhuam, or by, I think it's by Sri Sadhuam, because it says the commentary here is by Sri Sadhuam. And it says the translation is by Michael James. So I'll assume that Michael James has not added anything is merely translative. O Arunachala, who shine, devoid of attachment. It jars to me because he says who shine instead of who shines. I think it should be who shines, is it? That's the way I'd say it. Let me do it my way because, I can. O Arunachala, who shines, devoid of attachment. Because shine means it's plural, doesn't it? O Arunachala, who shine. O Arunachala, who shines, devoid of attachment, destroying the attachment of those who come to you with attachment. I find that an interesting verse. And it's a very typical motif we have here in Bhagavan's teachings, which a lot of people don't like if you go to other teachings. I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. But before I do, Demetrius, did you want to comment on anything? Was there a reason why you shared that verse with us? Or did you want to say anything or ask anything?
It just feels like the medicine that I need. Um, Destroying my attachment to my body, to myself, to my body mind, destroying my attachment to the false identity. I am asking Arunachala to magically help me to transcend that. And I wanted to ask in Satsang, take advantage of my gunas being more balanced to ask this. So,
Good, good, very good. If you come to satsang here and throw your gunas, throw your vasanas into the fire of satsang, you will be purified. Just so you know. If you come to satsang like Demetrius has, and you ask, please cleanse me of my gunas, you throw your gunas into here, you will be purified, cleansed. Let them go. Throw them away. Let them go. Deposit them. Satsang is a furnace. Purifies you. Just like Arunachala. You cling to Arunachala. Attach yourself to Arunachala. And Arunachala will destroy all attachments. This is the idea. The mind may not like that idea. You see, some teachings say no, because attachment can never lead to becoming unattached. But Bhagavan tells us, no, this is not true. Attachment to self, attachment to God, attachment to Guru, attachment to Arunachala, which is all of these, will lead to unattachment. Asanga. Asanga means non-attachment, liberation. That is what I was going to say before. So that is the meaning. You come to Bhagavan, you come to Arunachala with attachment, and you attach yourself to Bhagavan, and he will take away all attachments. Arunachala will purify you, cleanse you of all attachments. Arunachala is waiting for you. All you have to do is lay yourself, expose yourself, surrender. Give all the attachments. And then you will be left alone, unattached. And that is Arunachala. That too is Arunachala. Understanding these teachings is not as important as actually the devotion, the attachment to Bhagavan, the attachment to Arunachala. This is the actual thing that cleanses, that liberates. Understanding the teachings is secondary. It may or may not be part of your journey to understand the teachings. I'm talking about intellectual understanding. Thank you, Demetrius. What a beautiful verse and what a beautiful teaching. Please don't feel you have to get all these books, by the way. If you want to, then please do get them. But please don't feel you have to get all these books. These books, remember, they just all tell you to come to Arunachala. That's all they do, which is yourself, which is Bhagavan, the teacher, God, source, creator, sustainer, destroyer, and beyond these, the truth, the light, the self. What are the problem? What is the problem? What are the problems with the non-liberating teachings? You know, I've said there are many teachings that are non-liberating. Here is one of the problems. Maybe the problem. Maybe the only problem with the non-liberating teachings. They love the body, the mind, and the world. They keep on coming back to the body, mind, and world. They love it. They'll give an amazing teaching, and then suddenly they'll come back to the body, mind, world. Love Maya. They love Maya. Always need to bring it back to Maya, body, mind, world. Bhagavan's teachings, the Upanishads, they all say, let go of body, mind, world, come back to your true nature self. Body, mind, world are not self. They are discovered to never have existed. This is just a verbal formulation that cannot be put into words, really. It's an attempt at verbalizing something. Just go towards spirit yourself. As opposed to the false, that's the true teaching. The false teaching will say, just go towards spirit, which is your true self. But then later, bring it back into the body, bring it back into the world, or let's then go out and share the message with everyone else. Let's then go out and save civilization, or let's integrate it with our bodies, or something like this. And that subtle thing, if it's not pointed out to you, maybe you would miss it. Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you would. That subtle thing takes a liberating teaching and distorts it into a non-liberating teaching. It's very subtle. Well, it isn't subtle actually. To me it's blunt. It's coarse. The energy is totally different. The energy is totally different because it's essentially a materialistic, worldly, body-bound energy. Energetically, totally different. Even though words sound almost the same. Sometimes Sometimes they'll say, well, the teaching has to be practical. So let's bring it back to the world because that's practical. But this is not practical. The practical teaching is the one that takes you to liberation, not the one that keeps you in Maya. So by practical, here it means Maya, illusion. Maya means illusion, suffering, bondage, sin, samsara. Anything that moves is Maya. Anything that's perceived is Maya. Body, mind, world, Maya. Some people say that all there is energy. All there is energy. But energy is Maya. Energy is movement or potential movement, which is Maya. So when someone says everything is energy, they're just talking about Maya, typically. There may be some exceptions. In Sanskrit, the word for energy is prana. Prana. And prana is said to be not self. For example, pranamaya kosha in the 5 sheaths model. One of the sheaths is the energy sheath. Prana, pramana kosha, pranamaya kosha. the illusory covering of energy. Prana, energy, Maya means illusion. Kosha means covering or sheath or veil. Energy is a word typically, not always, typically is used for people who are talking about Maya. Energy is matter. Matter is energy. These are both Maya. Prana, energy, life force, life. Some people say all there is life, but they're talking about typically, maybe not always, but typically talking about Maya, life, Maya. They're talking about the life force. They're talking about Maya. How different it is to say silence as opposed to energy. This is the true life. Bhagavan says the true life is the silence. It's not life as we know it. It's not life as the body mind knows it. It's beyond imagination.